This is Kathy from GadgetStop321, and in today's video I'm going to be swapping the nibs on my collection of Lamy pens. I've got a Lamy Studio that has a 14 karat gold extra fine nib that I really enjoy, but it's on this Studio that has a metal section, and I just find it to be kind of slippery, and the shape of it is not my favorite. And so I just don't find myself using it that often. So I'm wanting to put that gold nib on my Lamy Logo, which is also a metal pen, but it has a cylindrical shape section, and the finish on it is a lacquer, whereas this, I'm not sure, it's kind of an anodization or something. I find this type of finish to be kind of slippery, but this lacquer is pretty grippy. And at the moment, this one has a fine steel nib, and I've also got my CP1 that has a medium steel nib, and the medium nibs are just a little bit too broad for me. And so the good thing about Lamy pens are it's so easy to swap the nibs. I'm just going to slide this medium off and set it to the side. A few years ago, I bought a replacement nib, an extra fine. So this is what's going to go on the Studio. I'm going to move the fine nib over to the CP1. And these two pens don't have ink in them at the moment. The Studio does have an ink cartridge in it. So, I don't know. Ideally, when I swap nibs, you want to do this without ink in the pen, but I decided not to. And sometimes the medium nib that was on this CP1 slid off really easily. Sometimes they're on there a little bit tighter, and it's a little harder to get a grip on them and slide them off. You don't want to damage the nib. So I learned this little trick, I think from Brian Goulet. Just put a bit of tape on there to help you get a grip. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and slide the extra fine on there. These nibs just slide on and off. Okay. Put the lid on there for now. I've got a Lamy blue-black ink cartridge. Let's see. In the Studio at the moment. I'm actually going to move the cartridge over to the Logo also. But I wanted to do ooh, that looks good. I wanted to do a quick writing sample just to see, because this Studio has always, I've noticed it was a pretty wet writer. So I wanted to see how much it had to do with the nib and how much of that is the feed. That's nice looking. I like that. Okay, let me do a quick little writing sample with the steel extra fine. And then I'll switch ink cartridges. Actually, there's a writing sample with that's the 14 karat extra fine with it in the Studio. Okay, gotta get the ink flowing a little bit. Alright. Zoom in just a little bit more. I wasn't fond of this Lamy Blue Black when I first got it, but it's growing on me. I like fairly saturated blue inks, and this is more of a denim color. It's got, I don't know, it's not as saturated as, say, Oxford Blue. I don't think it's as saturated as that. Okay, so now, I don't know, let me zoom in one more time. Not a tremendous amount of difference between the two. Oh, I guess I should have done a couple of these. The Go nib looks like it might be just a smidge wider on the cross strokes. I'll show it in just a minute. It has almost, it's a fine, extra fine nib, but it's got almost a architect grind to it. Here's the steel nib up close. Okay, and I'm going to take the cartridge out. It's still pretty full. I'm just doing this. Get all the ink down into the cartridge. I've got a couple of pins I'm needing to clean out, so I'll get this cleaned out when I'm done here. Now, hope that ink doesn't take too long to get down. Ah, whoa. That was, or is that ink still in the way? That's probably just ink still in the nib from having it in the studio, yeah. Okay, now this is, I don't know, this is not my recommended method of getting ink, getting the feed saturated, but I don't think I'm doing any damage to my nib right now. I tell you what, I'll pause the video. Okay, I've got the feed saturated. I'll go ahead and show you the difference in the shape of the nib. It has, this is an extra fine also. Let's see if you can, there's an angle to the tipping. And I like that. It's probably not tremendously noticeable in the writing sample, but when you're writing, you can tell just the slightest difference. Okay, and I don't post my Lamy logo because the end here is just plastic, chrome covered plastic, so that's really the only downside of this pen. And let's see. I think it's the actual gold nib. It appears to be slightly wetter. I don't know. This may not be a fair comparison since I took the cartridge out. Well, that's pretty wet. Let's try the gold nib one more time. That's the steel nib. They're pretty close. But there's a noticeable difference in, it's not in any way flexy. I wouldn't treat this as a flex nib, but you can, I shouldn't say there's a tremendous difference, but you know, if you've used fountain pens for a while, you can start to really sense those subtle differences. And I can feel the bounce, a little bit of bounce to this gold nib. So I'm happy with the switch. I'm looking forward to using my Lamy Logo a lot more. It's a good size pen for me. It just fits my hand perfect. So if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.